Good morning. Can you hear me back there? All right. Another great, beautiful day in the city of Pico Rivera, right? The beautiful city of Pico Rivera, where we love all our veterans. Well, let's go ahead and get this program started. Another great opportunity for us to get together, celebrate, remember all of those heroes that have come from the city of Pico Rivera and beyond. So good morning, Pico Rivera. Welcome to the 2018 City of Pico Rivera's Memorial Day ceremony. Today we gather to remember all the brave men and women from the U.S. military who have lost their lives in military service fighting for our freedom. I am proud to be here today as we honor our heroes, remember their achievements, courage, and dedication, and to say thank you for their sacrifices. We stand together in the belief that the majority of residents of our great city are grateful to those who have chosen to defend our country through service in our military. We are, after all, a city of veterans and many families of those currently serving in our great nation. The city of Pico Rivera was founded upon the principles, values, and sacrifices of the many of veterans who, when called upon by our nation, served with great pride and honor. Those men and women who have proudly served in our nation's armed forces have proven time and again that personal sacrifice in the face of injustice and tyranny literally changed the world for the better. As a community, we are steadfast in the recognition that their contributions are respected and the fact that we are grateful for their service. Pico Rivera's yearly tradition of honoring our fallen soldiers has been possible through the many partnerships and support of our community. The City of Pico Rivera staff worked hard to produce an event of this magnitude, and we thank them for it. However, I want to give a special recognition to the following posts because they are the reason why we are here today. They are the ones who started this event, and they're the ones that kept it thriving over the decades. So a big thank you to American Legion Post 411, American Legion Post 341, Veterans of Foreign Wars 7734, Veterans of Foreign War Post 6315. Thank you. Let's give them a big round of applause. We have another great event today. Hopefully today's program will inspire and fill you with pride for our community and country. With our keynote speaker, Pico Rivera hometown hero, U.S. Marine Sergeant Jose Paez. Thank you for being here. And this year we'll be honoring and thanking the brave men and women of the armed forces who fought and died for our freedom beyond today's event. Last year during our Veterans Day event, I expressed to you that I felt it was time for the city of Pico Rivera to invest in more ways to memorialize the men and women from the city of Pico Rivera. And with the support of my fellow council members, I was going to bring a project that will enhance the Veterans Memorial and Eternal Flame. As your mayor this year, I am proud to announce that the city of Pico Rivera is committed to enhancing the Pico Rivera Veterans Memorial and Eternal Flame Monument. On display today, we are unveiling the conceptual design of a Memorial Plaza. As you can see on the right of me, there's some renderings of how this new Memorial Plaza will potentially look. And I invite you to come and see for yourself and provide some input as well. The goal of enhancing the existing Eternal Flame Monument with the Veterans Memorial Plaza is to create a timeless tribute to our local heroes that served in the various military branches. The Eternal Flame Monument, built in the early 1970s, will not change. It will serve as a focal point of the plaza. This plaza will serve as a place of reflection, remembrance, and respect for those who have served and paid the ultimate price of our freedom. We sincerely appreciate the local guidance and feedback received part of this artist's conceptual design phase. We will continue meeting with the post commanders and members to make sure we have everyone's input. The Veterans Memorial Plaza will be built by the city for all to enjoy, but we want to make sure that it's designed by the veterans of our community. So I think it's time for us to honor and continue honoring all our heroes, all our veterans of Pico Rivera, not only through the Eternal Flame that existed in the 1970s, but I think it's time for us to really build a monument, a memorial wall, something that we can truly showcase how much we appreciate and love our veterans, and we thank them for all their sacrifices. Thank you. So with that, I want to continue with our program. Once again, welcome you all to the beautiful city of Pico Rivera. And continue our program, I want to bring up today's Master of Ceremonies. Not only is he a former combat veteran and paratrooper with the 82nd Airborne Division, but he also served as a presidential appointee under President Obama. As a member of the Board of Visitors to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, here is very own council member, Honorable Bob ARCHULETA. Thank you for being here. Thank you all.
Well, thank you so very much, Mayor Gustavo, our City Council, distinguished guests, our veterans, ladies and gentlemen. We're gathered here in the city of Pico Rivera, where pride is in the house. Pride of our military, pride of our citizens, our children, our firefighters, our sheriff's department. We are a prideful city that has never forgotten our veterans, where we've come from, and certainly our families. We are truly a city of God and country. People always ask, how is it that the city of Pico Rivera has so many veterans? And I answer, at the end of World War II, at the end of Korea and the Vietnam era, this is where our home was. This is where they all came home to. And they start building the city, and it is now known as America's Veterans Home. It is a city where we have 4 posts that you just heard. It's a city where grandmothers and grandfathers have raised their children, and they've come back to honor their flag. And someone asked me this morning, why is it when I drive through Pico Rivera, I see so many American flags everywhere? I said, because we are Americans, and we're proud to say that here in Pico Rivera. We are truly Americans in Pico Rivera. And I'm so proud and humbled to be here with you today as your Master of Ceremonies to honor our heroes, remember their achievements, their courage, their dedication, and to say thank you for their sacrifices, and especially the families who saw them off to war, who received them when they came home, and walked with them with their limbs and crutches, whatever it was. Family was there to receive them. The love never stopped. Their spirit of emotion was pride. It was always God and country. Thinking of our heroes to join us today, but they are the ones who are with us in spirit, the ones who gave so much. They gave their lives for our country. We owe them so very much. The enormity of what they risked, what they did to protect all people and provide freedom for every citizen throughout the United States here is amazing. Their dedication is on the wall. Their dedication is among your families, and certainly here in our city. The service members we honor today came from all walks of life. They came to share the fundamental qualities. And I'm going to stop for just a second. I asked for the flyover 10 minutes ago. I'm a former paratrooper, and that pilot must have been in the Navy. So that's when we owe you, sailors. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get off script for a second. You know, we have served, I'm a paratrooper, served with the 82nd Airborne, and could never have jumped out of those planes had it not been for the Air Force. We would have never had the joint operations had it not been for the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard. All of us, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, we all joined together to serve and represent this country. Oh. And I, for a moment there, I thought of my 2 sons that are serving. So, to my sons, we're thinking of you. So I may go back. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, that freedom is not free, and here in the United States of America, we have to honor the men and women who gave us so much, and especially the families who gave us their sons and daughters. They possess courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty, and integrity, all the qualities needed to serve in today's military. Also, let us not forget the families, as I mentioned, of these service members. Every single day, they never forget. Pictures are on the wall. Their hearts are here with us today every Memorial Day and Veterans Day. And every time there's a movie on TV about one of our veterans or about the military, I know the families always pause and say, that's Uncle Charlie, that's my dad, that's my brother, that's my husband, serving this great country. And somebody tugs at the shirt and said, don't forget Grandma, because she served in the wax and the waves, and she was there too. We'll always appreciate what they've done. We'll always give the gratitude as Americans. On behalf of the citizens of Pico Rivera, City Council, and all those who love this great city, we thank you for being here today to honor our veterans and to realize that today is Memorial Day, where we acknowledge our fallen and those who gave their lives for our country. And now, ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand as we post the colors? The Valley Veterans, accompanied by the bagpiper David Iverson. The bagpiper always leads a procession at Arlington National Cemetery when we honor one of our veterans with a flag draped over the casket, and he's led by the bagpiper. Bagpiper front and center. Veterans, please render a hand salute. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands over your heart. Order. Arms. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
Order.
Ladies and gentlemen, I had mentioned earlier that the city of Pico Rivera loves its veterans, God, and country. And we'll begin our invocation today by Deacon Paul PESQUEIRA, Director of Sacramental Preparation at USC and formerly at St. Mary Ann's here in the city of Pico Rivera. Deacon, please lead us in prayer.
Thank you, Bob. My brothers and sisters, if we could please stand and put ourselves in the presence of our Lord and our God and silence ourselves for just a moment. Good and gracious God, the creator of all, the creator of everything that is seen and unseen. We love you and we thank you for the gift of life. On this day that the city of Pico Rivera gathers together to remember our brothers and sisters who have died for freedom and country and this beautiful city. This community warmly remembers our brothers and sisters for generation upon generation and their commitment to the love of God, country, and family. And this family that is gathered here this day may shed a tear for those individuals who are no longer with us physically. But we know, Lord, that they are always with us by just looking at the incredible symbol of our flag, for the red stripes, for the blood that has been shed, for us to have an opportunity to live a life of freedom here in the United States, this great country, this wonderful state, California, and most importantly, the city that we call home. We ask this in your most glorious name. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon. And now, ladies and gentlemen, raising of the flag, and of course our flag salute and our pledge to our great country. I'd like to have American Legion, let me have you take your seats for just a minute. I'd like to once again thank the American Legion Post 411 Commander Steve Campos, American Legion Post 341 Member Paul Camacho, Veterans of Foreign War 7734 Commander Armando Cepeda, and Veterans of Foreign War 6315 Member Larry Ademi. And they will handle raising of the flag. And as they walk over to the flagpole in our center of our court, I point your attention to your left, my right, some of the equipment that was used for those of us who served, some of you who remember the sea rations.
Sorry.
The can that had your meal that would last you sometimes all day, sometimes for the week, with beans, and if you were lucky, you got a piece of bread in it. And of course, the duffel bag, the steel pot, the mess kit, and of course, the radios and communications equipment. They're there, and so you can walk over after it's over, guys, and you'll touch one of those items and it'll come back to you. The first time you put on that steel pot, maybe the first time you wore that item, the web gear, whatever it was, it'll bring back memories. And behind me, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we have our flag. And it is to be raised. And it will be lowered to half-mast in honor of our fallen, and it will fly half-mast for the rest of the day. And I invite you, when you have a chance, to go over, look at the names. You might even touch them, because today they're real. They're real to all of us, the family members that are here. The Whitney family is right up front. They lost one. The name's up on the wall. 3 sisters, dad, World War II veteran. That monument means a lot. And every one of us who love this great country, that monument is going to stay in Pico Rivera with that eternal flame burning forever, to always remember our fallen. Please stand, ladies and gentlemen. your hand over your heart. Veterans, a hand salute, our national anthem. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And it is very appropriate to give the Valley veterans, our color guard, a big round of applause. Please take your seats. As the color guard prepares to come back up to do the folding and the unfolding of the flag, I'd like to share with you some of the things that are so very important to each and every one of us who serve this great country. Is to never forget those who served, who never come home to ask for help or a handout. They'll always ask for a hand up. And that's why the Veterans Administration is working hard to help our veterans when they come home. But I'd like to certainly acknowledge the men and women who work at the VA hospital, the doctors and the nurses who are treating our veterans every single day, and all the men and women who sit down with them, to consult with them, to counsel with them, to listen to their stories, to let their hearts bleed emotionally as they tell their story about their dreams, their nightmares, their PTSD. And it is there that they recover, they come back, they're able to go back to their families and be the father and the mother that they can be, and the grandparents that sometimes never forget the suffering that's went on. Yesterday, I took time out from my day and I watched that movie, Saving Private Ryan. And it was these paratroopers and Rangers trying to find that young Private Ryan, James L. Ryan, who served with the 101st Airborne, who had lost 3 of his brothers in combat. And at that point, the President of the United States and the Army Chief of Staff could not allow for the 4th brother to be killed in action. So they went out to find him and bring him home. And they lost quite a few in doing that. But the mission was greater than everyone could realize because it was symbolic. We could not let a family lose every single child. And I say child because these young men and women, they grow up and they join the military for us, for America. And of course, some of you may not have the story in thought and mind, but I was teasing that pilot who flew over. I teased about the Navy, but I'll tell you a story how much I love the Navy. 7 brothers, the Sullivan brothers, you may have heard the story, all 7 were killed. And because of that, we've never sent the same brothers to the same combat zone. They were always separate from that point forward. So we owe so much to our Navy personnel and our Air Force and military, our Marines, every one of them. And today we're going to continue to honor them. And I'm so glad that you're all here with us as we do this. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the folding of the flag, and we will honor the flag, and you will know what each fold means. Honor guard. Ladies and gentlemen, every Veterans Day, Memorial Day, every day of the week, this happens. Folding and unfolding of the flag. The flag is draped over the casket. Arlington National Cemetery, here in California at the Federal Cemetery in Los Angeles. Everywhere a veteran is laid to rest. The flag is opened, folded. There's a volley of rifle fire. There's taps and the folding of the flag. We will go through that ceremony for you. Please stand, ladies and gentlemen.
Fellow veterans, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to fire 3 volleys. We're going to please cover your ears if you have sensitive ears.
Hand salute, hands over your hearts. And now taps, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your seat. The folding of the American flag, ladies and gentlemen. The flag folding ceremony represents the same religious principles on which our country was founded. The first fold of our flag is a symbol of life. The second fold is a symbol of our belief in the eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veteran departing our ranks, who, not in vain, gave a portion of their lives in defense of our country to attain peace throughout the world. They shall never be forgotten. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature as American citizens who trust in God. It is to Him we turn for divine guidance in times of peace as well as in times of war. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country. In the words of the immortal Stephen Decanter, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she be always right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is with our hearts that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to the armed forces. It is through these same armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all enemies. whether they are found within or without the boundaries of our republic. The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered the valley of the shadow of death, so we see the light of day. This fold is made to honor Mother, for whom it flies on Mother's Day. The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood. It is through woman's faith, love, loyalty, and devotion to the characters of the men who made this country great were molded. The 10th fold is a tribute to Father. He has also given his sons for the defense of our country since she was born. The 11th fold represents the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon. In the eyes of the Hebrew citizen, the lower portion of the seal glorifies the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. The 12th fold represents an emblem of eternity. In the eyes of the Christian citizen, eternity glorifies God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost. When the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our national motto, "In God We Trust." After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it takes on an appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones, who were following by their comrades and shipmates in the armed forces of the United States, preserving for all of us the rights, privileges, and freedoms we enjoy today. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the folding of the American flag at gravesite, where we honor our fallen veteran who served this country with distinction and received an honorable discharge for his or her service to our country, and that service will never be forgotten. To the veterans representing the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, and the Coast Guard, and the Merchant Marines, may they never be forgotten. And the flag is symbolically presented to the widow, to the mother, to the father, the eldest child of the one lost. On behalf of the President of the United States, with gratitude and appreciation for their service and the loss of the family, may they rest in peace. Ladies and gentlemen, behind me you can see the American flag, and that black flag called the POW MIA flag. To those of us who served, that flag is symbolic because we will never forget our men and women who were captured, never returned, never found, because they've been lost in battle, in combat, perhaps at sea. Wherever they were lost, they will never be forgotten. But in particular to our prisoners of war. Sergeant? So symbolically, we have a table to my right, to your left. Some of you can't see it, but I'll describe it. It'll be pointed out. Each and every item on the table has a meaning, a symbolic meaning. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is our POW MIA table to remember our fallen, those who will never come back with us, perhaps, and maybe one day they will. As you entered the event today, you may have looked over and saw the table. You may even notice how small it was, but it was placed to the right of the stage, a place of honor. It is set for one. This table is our way of symbolizing the fact that the members of our profession, the profession of arms, are missing from our midst. They are commonly called POWs, prisoners of war, or MIAs, missing in action. We call them brothers. They are unable to be with us this morning, but they will never be forgotten. This table is set for one. It is small, symboling the frailty of the one prisoner alone against his oppressor. As I mentioned, There's so many things in the military that are symbolic to all of us. But this one table, small it be, set with a white cloth, it's symbolic of the one prisoner that is still with the oppressors. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. The single rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the families and loved ones of our comrades in arms who keep waiting and waiting for their return. The red ribbon tied on the vase is reminiscent of the red ribbon worn upon the lapel and breast of thousands who bear witness to their unyielding determination to demand a proper accounting of our missing and missing in action. On a plate, there's a slice of lemon. Yes, it's a bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate. There is salt upon the table, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us today. The chair is empty. They are not with us today. Remember, all of those who served with honor and distinction, you called them comrades. You depended upon their might, their aid, and you relied on them, for surely they have not forsaken and forgotten you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the POW MIA table, symbolic in remembrance of our POWs. Thank you, Sergeant. Let's give him a round of applause. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, it is Memorial Day. It is not Veterans Day, it's Memorial Day. Day where symbolically we reach out to try and touch and feel and remember the memories of our lost. And with us today, we're so proud that the City of Pico Rivera has come together with our firefighters, and I'd like to take a moment out to acknowledge our firefighters in the rear with so many veterans in the fire department here in Pico Rivera and throughout the county of Los Angeles. Thank you, gentlemen, ladies, for your service, our firefighters. And to the Sheriff's Department, Captain Valdez, little Mikey over there, who's our motor officer. Mike, thank you for being here. The Sheriff's Department, led by Captain Pat Valdez. Thank you so much. Once again, I'd like to acknowledge our City Council members, Mayor Gustavo Camacho, Mayor Pro Tem Brent TERCERO, Councilmember Bob ARCHULETA, Councilmember David ARMENTA, and Councilmember Greg Salcido. Ladies and gentlemen, with us today we have a few dignitaries. I'd like to take a moment out to acknowledge them. Representing our State Assembly, 58th District, Edgar Estrada. Edgar, thank you for being here. And representing our LA County Board of Supervisors, 1st District, Hilda Solis, Lorenzo Briones, Mr. Briones. Representing Rio Hondo College, Vicky Santana, member of the board, Vicky Santana. And some of our men and women who work in our city every single day to keep our city running. Let's go ahead and acknowledge our acting city manager and public works director, James Enriquez. James. Community and Economic Development Director, Steve Carmona. Our city clerk, Anna Jerome. Parks and Rec Director, Arlene Salazar, who helped put this together today. Thank you, Arlene, and your staff. Administrative Services Department Director, Michael Sorosa. Michael. You're going to get me on that one. And of course, I mentioned our captain, Patrick Valdez. Once again, Captain. And our Parks and Recreation Commissioners, Chairman, Dr. Monica Sanchez. Monica. Vice Chairman, Pat Salcido. Pat. Commissioner John Garcia. And Commissioner Joseph Palumbi. And I've got to take a moment out to acknowledge Commissioner Palumbi, who his son, little Joseph, just got accepted into West Point. He'll be leaving us July 1. Go to New York. There he is. Joseph Palumbi. Congratulations on your appointment, and may your service always be proud and full of honor and distinction as your Palumbi family has served this great city of Pico Rivera. Thank you, little Joseph. Our planning commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, who I call my little sister, Esther Solis, our chair. And ladies and gentlemen, we also have Fred Zermeno, commissioner. Where are you, Fred? And our sister cities commissioner, Gustavo Contreras. And from the El Rancho Unified School District, please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome our board president, school board president, Dr. Aurora Villon. Dr. Villon. And school board member, Lorraine De La O. And visiting from the City of Commerce, Mayor Pro Tem Ivan Altamirano. Ivan, thank you so much for coming to Pico Rivera. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we thank those who served, we thank those who put this together. But there's a group of young ladies, and I call young ladies, who helped us so much. They are the ones that seem to run the posts here in Pico Rivera, our Ladies Auxiliary, because without the Ladies Auxiliary, gentlemen, I know you can agree with me, the posts would not be what they are with our Ladies Auxiliaries. Can we give our ladies a big round of applause? And I think at this time we'd like to lay the wreath, is that correct? Ladies, will you please join us in laying the wreath at the monument? As at every grave site, there's always flowers. And these flowers are put together. And as I mentioned, the Ladies Auxiliaries. American Legion Post 411, President Isabel Galando. American Legion Post 341, President Sandra Thomas. Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 7734, President Jane Pina. And VFW Post 6315, President Charlene Hubler. Yes, let's give them a round of applause. As they stand before the monument, placing the wreath, and they return, a story I must share with you, ladies and gentlemen. Both ladies and gentlemen, when we went off to serve our great country, it was the moms that set us off. And you can't tell me, guys, Army, Navy, Airborne, Marines, paratroopers, Special Forces, I don't care what branch of unit you were with, when you wrote that first letter home, it was symbolic. It was to mom, to all the mothers in the house. Gentlemen, let's acknowledge, and ladies, our mothers. Thank you, ladies. We appreciate your love of the veterans, the love of service, and your undying commitment to to our posts, because as I said before, they wouldn't be what they are without your leadership and involvement. Thank you so very much. So I'd like to continue acknowledging all the men and women who served our great country and our fallen heroes. Since the dawn of time, war battles, conflicts have significantly impacted our course of our lives here in America. Our history is strong. The battles are many. From the American Revolution to the Middle East, conflicts are too many to count. I'd like to just share with you some numbers of our loss. And I've just picked out a few. In World War I, you can imagine, just for a second, World War I, it was 1917. We lost 320,518 men and women. In World War II, 1941, December 7th, if you recall, the Imperial Japanese Navy bombed Pearl Harbor and World War II began. We lost 1,076,245 lives. And in Korea, some refer to it as the Forgotten War. The Korean War veterans that are in the house will never forget. They lost 128,650. During the Vietnam era, 211,454 were lost. And it goes on and on. The Gulf War, 22,500. Iraq, 36,000. It goes on. This is Memorial Day, ladies and gentlemen, when we acknowledge those who served, the Americans that gave so much. This is a day of coming together and remember our fallen. When our families congregate to monuments, cemeteries, they go off to parades to honor our dead and remember the fallen servicemen and women, to remember how much was given by so few, so we can enjoy this day and each and every day of freedom. Let us not forget, they gave us all. They gave us everything they had. We owe them so much. Our freedom, our happiness, our lives, our gratitude. This ceremony today is a tribute to the United States military servicemen and women who served past and present. So with that, I'd like to acknowledge the fact that the City of Pico Rivera has come together to acknowledge all our men and women. So I'd like to have our City Council members come up, and let me once again invite our Mayor, Gustavo Camacho.
Thank you, Councilmember. Let's give our Councilmember a big round of applause. He's doing a great job. Spends a lot of time with staff to put this event together. And once again, as the Mayor of the City of Pico Rivera, it's an honor and privilege to be among so many brave men and women who serve and have served and represent the City of Pico Rivera. It's quite an honor. And today I brought my daughters and my wife to join me so they can better understand all the sacrifices that have been made by so many brave men and women, so they understand how the freedom, how their freedom comes from, where it comes from, and continue to appreciate their uncle, currently serving in a Coast Guard over Massachusetts. But it's an honor to be here, and as we celebrate Memorial Day, and I mentioned to you, together with my colleagues, we're going to bring a project to you that I believe will enhance the eternal flame. Again, I welcome you to come and look at the first renderings. And we are going to do it in two phases. One, we're going to build the walls, put the seals of all the military branches, put the seals of all our posts. But the second phase is what we're working on, is engrave every single name of all the men and women who have lived in Pico Rivera that are no longer with us, and that's how we're going to continue remembering all our men and women. So with that, I'd like to bring up our Mayor Pro Tem to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brent TERCERO. I have the privilege of serving on our City Council as the Mayor Pro Tem, and obviously, we are here today to celebrate Memorial Day. It's a somber day, but it is a celebration. And in an effort to continue the celebrations beyond just today, we celebrate those who have given their lives, who have sacrificed. We celebrate our POWs. But we also must celebrate those who continue to carry forward the burden of serving in our military, to continue serving for our country. And that's why I'm proud to announce today that this Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Mi Hacienda here in Pico Rivera, we will be having the first ever celebration in the state of California that celebrates young men and women enlisting from the military to the military from high school. In partnership with Our Community Salutes, it will be the first celebration of these young men and women who are enlisting, not just in California, but on the entire West Coast. We do this in an effort to continue building our community, supporting our veterans, supporting those who serve, but not just to let our veterans, like all of you, know today that we are behind you once you've served, but to let our young men and women know even before they enter that they will be supported. They will be supported by our community and by all of the individuals here in this crowd and by our council, by our school district, and by all the individuals that continue to celebrate Memorial Day and Veterans Day with us here in this community. So I also have a script here that I need to read as well. I apologize for that. But carrying forward the idea of community, we gather as a community on Memorial Day, and we find ourselves reflecting on those individuals who so bravely and instinctually risked life and limb in face of grave danger. It is, of course, fitting today that we remember the valiant actions of all posthumous Medal of Honor recipients, those who selflessly sacrificed their lives in an attempt to save their comrades in arms. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'd like to invite Councilmember David Armenta to say a few words.
Thank you very much for coming to the City of Pico Rivera and sharing this special day with us. I had a 10-minute speech, but Councilmember ARCHULETA took up most of my time, as usual. But that's okay. I just want to say to our veterans here, God bless you for coming back and being able to come back. And to our men and women that were not able to come back, I ask God to bless them, to watch over them, to keep them in His grace and glory, because without them and our veterans, our country would not be as great as it is. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day, and let's try to remember one person that we know that didn't come back, and just say a prayer for that person. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Councilmember. And just again, as the Mayor Pro Tem invited you to an event this Wednesday at 6 p.m., it's great that we celebrate and we support, quite frankly, all the men and women who are enlisted in the military and are going to go abroad. And so we want to also celebrate them. But there's a flyer to the left of us here at the Veterans Check-In with all the information, so hopefully you can join us. With that, let's bring back our MC, Councilmember Bob ARCHULETA, to continue the program.
Well, thank goodness David gave up his time for me. What do you think? Thank you, David. We've got so many things to talk about, but we've got important things to say, and that is the fact that today is a very special day in Pico Rivera, and I'm so proud when I heard Brent TERCERO tell us that we are going to be acknowledged. The City of Pico Rivera, Mi Hacienda, next Wednesday night, 6 p.m. It's open. Not going to cost you a dime. If you got a minute, stop in, because you'll see, I think about 85 young men and women going into the military, and this is our send-off to them. And they're not just from Pico Rivera, but they're from the surrounding region, but they'll be represented by all the branches of service, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, Merchant Marines. They will be there. And what better place to start than in Pico Rivera, where we love our veterans. Isn't that great? Thank you for that. The acknowledgement of our veterans is so important to us, and this is why, ladies and gentlemen, on the monument behind us, the names, the plaques were getting old and rusty looking after so many years. So I'd like to thank staff, our mayor and city council, and everyone who was involved in having them taken down, cleaned up, and now they look brand new. So if you get a chance, please take a look at it. But we're so thankful for the veterans community for their involvement, to all our men and women who serve, to acknowledge them. And it's amazing. The names on that plaque from World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, they are there. They will be immortalized again with the eternal flame, and that facelift is well needed. And you heard the mayor mention we're going to revitalize the whole area back there, and it's going to be there forever to honor our veterans. And I can't say enough about the fact that here in the city of Pico Rivera, so many young men and women go off to serve, they come home, go back to school, and we've discovered they are the brightest of the brightest, and we're so proud of their service. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, and speaking of the monument, earlier I mentioned the Whitney family. They're here. Is it pronounced Whiting? Whiting family, thank you. The Whiting family is here, and I'd like to have them stand for just a second. Ladies, would you please stand? These are three sisters. Look at that. The Whiting family. Dad's a World War II veteran, but he said, just give it to the girls. But thank you for being here. So at this time, I'm going to ask you for just a moment of prayer, a moment of silence, to think about the names on this wall and the friends and relatives that you may have who are not only on this wall, but the Vietnam Memorial Wall, or it may be someone who you lost serving our great country. So for our men and women who've given so much, a moment of silence. May they rest in peace. Thank you. I will now read the names of the veterans who are on the wall, their names. After each name is read, you will hear the ringing of the bell by Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Custody Assistant Robert Horan, who has also served in the military, served with the United States Navy and the United States Army. And Robert was on board the USS Enterprise, working in the Intelligence Center, working for NATO. He joined the Navy Reserves and the Army Reserves. So thank you so much for your service. After each name, we can go ahead and acknowledge him. Thank you. As I mentioned, in the military, there's traditions, there's symbolic issues and gestures and things we do that are so dear to us. We utilize these traditions to reflect honor that we bestow and respect upon those who gave so much, served our great country. And today, the city of Pico Rivera has given away hats, say we honor our veterans here in Pico Rivera. So veterans, if you haven't had a chance, stop by, pick up your hat. We want everyone to know that you are a veteran serving us, the city of Pico Rivera, who you serve this great country. We want everyone to walk up to you and say, thank you for your service. We appreciate it. Thank you again once so much, so very, very much. So now, ladies and gentlemen, to symbolize the devotion of these brave souls whose names are on the wall, I'd like to begin with the ceremonial ring. And the first name is Sergeant Ronald L. Andrews, United States Army. Private First Class Ruben Maximo Armenta, United States Marine Corps. Corporal Frank Barracis, United States Army. Give a shout out once again. Let's hear it. There you go. Thank you so very much. Lance Corporal James Albert Boda, United States Marine Corps. Private Barry Edward Brown, United States Army. Corporal Arthur John Castillo, United States Army. Sergeant Jesus Ernest Chavez Jr., United States Army. Private First Class Jose M. Chavez, United States Army. Private Salvador Chavez, United States Army. Private First Class Ronald Harry Chilcott, United States Army. Private First Class Frank Smith Grigliano, United States Marine Corps. Specialist, 4th grade, Ray Glenn Desmond, United States Army. Master Sergeant, Emilio Izarias, United States Army. Specialist, 4th grade, Sam Joseph Fabada, United States Army. Corporal, Epifano Gurela, United States Army. Corporal Luis Hernandez, United States Army. Private First Class George Albert Juarez, United States Marine Corps. Private First Class Edward Leonard Lowell, United States Marine Corps. Sergeant Arthur Mora Jr., United States Army. Private First Class Timothy Greg Nunley, United States Army. Specialist, 4th grade, Alfonso Olmos, United States Army. Lance Corporal Ronald Edward Pinn, United States Marine Corps. Corporal Julian Ponce, United States Navy. Permanent change of station, Joseph Y. Ramirez, United States Marine Corps. Lance Corporal Raymond Ruiz, United States Marines. Private Ruben Reyes Cibetra, United States Army. Lance Corporal Gilbert Solano Salazar, United States Marine Corps. Corporal William Isaac Salazar, United States Marine Corps. Private Thomas William Shaw, United States Army. Private First Class Michael Owen Shelley, United States Army. Sergeant John Raven Staltler, United States Army. Private First Class Ismael Jose Valdez Jr., United States Marine Corps. Private First Class Jimmy Vasquez, United States Army. Specialist, 5th grade, Ignacio Villalobos, United States Army. Lance Corporal Jose Edward Villanueva, United States Army. And Private First Class Richard Edward Whiting, United States Army. Ladies and gentlemen, those are 36 names. The bell, we heard it rung 36 times. But their names will forever be on the monument. And today I would like to acknowledge the recipients who they may be in the audience. If you're there, please stand. Any recipient of the Silver Star for gallantry, combat against the enemy, and or who may have received a Purple Heart in combat awarded by the President of the United States for their wounds, or someone in the family who lost one serving our great country. Please stand and be recognized. Our Silver Star and our Purple Heart recipients. There they are. Thank you, gentlemen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our keynote speaker. And today we are so honored and grateful to find one of our own right here in Pico Rivera. And we're always looking for a veteran here in Pico Rivera at these ceremonies. Today's keynote speaker is Pico Rivera hometown hero, Sergeant United States Marine Corps, Jose M. Paz. Jose served 12 years. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Jose served 12 years in the United States Marine Corps from September 2001 to August 2013. During his military career, Jose was deployed a combined total of 7 times, including 4 tours of duty to Iraq, 1 tour of duty to Afghanistan, 2 tours of duty to the expeditionary missions. Jose was in hostile combat in both Iraq and Afghanistan. To date, this region of the world is considered still to be extremely hostile and dangerous. Jose's awards and decoration achievements include the Bronze Star, awarded for heroism, the Purple Heart, awarded for his wounds suffered in combat, 2 Navy Marine Corps Commendation with Valor, 2 Combat Action Ribbons, Navy Achievement Medal, Iraq Campaign Medals, 4 Iraq Campaign Medals, and Afghanistan Campaign Medals. After 13 years of service to his country, Jose was medically retired due to injuries. Shortly after his retirement, Jose moved to the city of Pico Rivera. Jose enjoys being a member of the American Legion Post 411. Here is our own hometown Pico Rivera hero. Please, ladies and gentlemen, bring up Jose. He's a proud father of 2 children, Josie and Emily. Welcome home, my brother. Welcome home. It's okay.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming here today. But today we're not here for me. Today we're not here for the men and women who are serving or who have served. But we're here for the men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice and made it possible for us to be here today. To some, this day is just another day off work, another barbecue day, or another day to just go to the mall and get discounts. But to those who truly know the understanding and meaning of Memorial Day, it means so much more. Memorial Day for me is every day. I remember all the Marines I've lost, 66 brothers that I lost throughout my career in the Marine Corps. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about them. It's hard to live with those memories and images, but I see it as today I live my life for them. Today we commemorate this day by displaying poppy flower, this red flower that I'm wearing myself, which was adopted by veteran organizations, American Legion VFW, officially back in 1924. It was adopted after World War I on Flanders Field, where it was the only flower that was able to grow, or plant that was able to grow after World War I. Later it was learned that these flowers grew from the rubble that was left from the war. And the red was representing the blood that was shed during the war and the wars that are still continuing to this day. I myself am growing a poppy flower to remind myself for those that didn't make it back. And I have that flower today thanks to my neighbor and friend, Dan Ortiz, who is also a combat veteran. For a while, I was actually pretty scared that I was going to lose that flower because my apartment complex caught fire. I was pretty upset. To some, it was just a regular fire. To me, it was something else because it reminded me of some of the Marines I lost in Iraq, and it was not a pretty sight, and yeah. Someday, I really hope that a lot of people don't confuse this day, Memorial Day, with Veterans Day. To me, it really upsets me because it's not a day for those that are living, but it's the day for those that are not here with us anymore. And hopefully one day people would understand what it actually means to some of us. When they see those names, those memorials all across the world in this beautiful country, and they would sit and think before they start talking and disrespect this country and those who served and those who didn't make it back, especially because of them. We are here today living our lives and enjoying our freedoms. I would like to thank everybody that came here, Gold Star families. It's not a happy day, but it's a day, another day that we are here living for those that there are not. I'd like to thank my friends and family that came, those that are there for me when I really need it, and my girlfriend as well. There's some days that are harder than others, but I'm here. And I thank those that gave their lives for me to be here today. Thank you.
Jose, America's heroes. Jose, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service to the Marine Corps and your brothers that were lost. May they rest in peace. And as Jose had mentioned, as I started today, I said it wasn't Veterans Day, it was Memorial Day. So Jose, you're right on. This is the day we acknowledge our fallen. And to your brothers who you lost, simplify, may they always be in your heart. We will never forget you. We will never forget their service to our great country. You're absolutely right. Everyone who puts on that uniform to go off to serve this country, they are part of us here in Pico Rivera, part of our state, part of our country, and they will be always remembered and acknowledged. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Jose and his fellow Marines. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to acknowledge all our fallen, and I'd like to mention that my dad served in the Marine Corps. He was an Inchon, and I know Jose, you know that. He was an Inchon during Korea, so I'd like to right now just begin by going out of script, and I'd like to ask the United States Marines to please stand up to be acknowledged. Those of you who served in the Marine Corps, thank you for your service. My dad, my stepdad, Harold, thank you for your service serving the Marine Corps. And what we're going to do now, please take your seats. What we're going to do with that theme in mind, we're going to go ahead and play your song. So let's go ahead and begin with the United States Army. So those of you who serve in the Army, please stand and be recognized with the United States Army song. Thank you. Once again, the United States Marine Corps, please stand. And to the United States Navy, sailors on your feet. And the United States Air Force, please stand to be recognized. And for the United States Coast Guard, will you please stand? Thank you. Let's give the band a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much. Today we began by acknowledging the good Lord and our flag and men and women who gave their lives for our great country. And I'd like to finish up as we go with a couple items to do yet, but let's continue honoring our good Lord. Deacon Paul, please come up and lead us in our benediction.
I want to thank the City of Pico Rivera for the invitation to participate in this beautiful ceremony. In the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 13, Jesus of Nazareth, the Christ, states, "There is no greater gift than this, than to give the life for those you love." Please stand. Bow your head and pray for God's blessing as we think of that verse and those brothers and sisters that we remember on this day. Lord God, in our humanness, we use words to express how we feel. And oftentimes, we use words like gone, lost, never to be seen again. But it's in your mercy that we know that this is not true. For those individuals that we love, we know that they are not gone and they are not lost, for they will remain forever in our hearts, in our minds, and in our memories. And as we gather as residents and guests of this city of Pico Rivera, this community that acknowledges those those men and women for generation and generation represent this great country, knowing that they truly lived out that gospel verse. No greater gift than these. And it's through this family, this community, this city, that we celebrate and acknowledge the life, the love, and the joy of our brothers and sisters that made the ultimate sacrifice. We ask this in your most glorious name, and may Almighty God bless all of you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, remain standing as our colors are retrieved by Boy Scout Troops 115. Let's give them a big round of applause. Troops, come on in, our Boy Scouts. Front and center. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning our veterans posted the colors, and now the future of America, our Boy Scouts, are retrieving the colors. Boy Scouts? Veterans, hand salute. Ladies and gentlemen, place your hand over your heart.
Color guard halt. Color guard about face. Color guard dismiss.
Ready? Two. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them another round of applause. And please remain standing. We've got something for you. Please join me in song. Our song, God Bless America. Let's hear it. Please take your seats. If I may now for just a minute, with my closing remarks, I'd like to tell you that I am so proud and so honored to be here with you today, the entire City Council, our staff, everyone who made this day possible. We are so grateful that you've taken time out from your day to come and spend it with us as we honor our fallen on Memorial Day, that we come together as Americans to remember today is so very, very special, a solemn day of remembrance, a day of mourning, a day of honor, and a day that we don't forget our POWs, our MIAs, our men and women who served this great country, those who gave their lives for our freedom. And if anyone has ever asked where you're from, you proudly say that great city of Pico Rivera, where we honor our men and women every single day. So I must tell you, commit and recommit yourselves to honor our veterans. They will never stop fighting for us. The sacrifices that our fallen have made for us have given us the freedom to stand here, be here, to have our families, our churches, our schools, our buildings, our entire nation because of our veterans, and especially those who gave so much. And I would like to share one final thought, that we want to break bread with you today. So across the street, we're going to invite you for lunch, every single one of you. We've got enough food for every single one of you to join us across the street. So you don't have to go home and barbecue. You can come across the street and break bread with a veteran, break bread with us. And I'd like to once again tell you that the lunch at the Senior Center right across the street will be one that you can share with. You can meet some of the veterans that are here. And again, I'd like to once again, by closing, and say thank you for loving this great city. Thank you for loving this great state of California, and especially our great country of America. I'm Bob ARCHULETA. Thank you so very much. God bless you. Thank you. God bless America. Join us for lunch.